Selling Smarter San Diego, let's talk all about common mistakes that home sellers make and how to avoid them. I'll help you the whole way. Number one mistake is overpricing your property. We are all very hopeful that you will get the most money possible. However, we know that asking too much for your property is contrary to your goal of getting the most money possible. Let me explain. By pricing your home to sell from the beginning, it will draw in the maximum number of people and interest, and it may even create an opportunity for people to compete for your property. On the other hand, if we overprice your property and start too high, and then over a period of time have to reduce the price, as we reduce the price and as days on market is increasing, folks are going to get a different impression about your property. And that impression may not be good. They may begin to wonder, what's the problem with the property? Why hasn't someone bought this property yet? We don't want to give them any doubts or fears. And after all, there's nothing wrong with your property. It was all about the pricing strategy. So you don't want to waste the maximum amount of interest that occurs with your property, which will happen right at the beginning. So let's give them a price that they can work with. Remember, the indicated value for your property could be very different than the asking price for the property. The asking price is a pricing strategy. The asking price, well, it's marketing. So let's figure out how to use the asking price to your advantage to create the maximum amount of interest and buzz on your property and to therefore maximize what we can get for the sale of your house. Number two, the most common error made by home sellers is not making necessary repairs. It is recommended to do basic maintenance, carpet cleaning, landscape cleanup, housekeeping. Deep cleaning is a good idea. Getting yourself properly organized and making necessary repairs. Window screens, loose faucets, anything that the buyer can actually touch, those are the ones that you should pay attention to because, well, when buyers come into a new space, they're not really sure what to do or how to check or how to inspect the property. So they start operating things, the light switches, the faucets, and so on. If those aren't nice or don't work well or are broken, well, it immediately impacts their impression of the quality of and pride of ownership in the property, which has knock-on effects not only to how much they'll pay for your property, but how they're going to want to negotiate the entire transaction. Now, another mistake folks do make in real estate is getting too emotionally involved. Now, it's true, this is your residence and you've been living here a long time, and we do respect that. At the same time, selling your house is a business transaction. So your thoughts and ideas and motivations and how you use your property could be very different than what they think. And that's okay. Ultimately, however, it could be very costly to be right about how your home is going to be used by the new buyer. A better choice is to think pragmatically about saving time and saving money. So there could be cases where I might advise you, hey, you might consider bending on this opportunity, on this particular question or issue. Apparently, this is really important to them. Let's be firm on this issue and a second issue, but let's give them what they want on this third. That type of a small win can go a long way toward establishing a win-win negotiation with the buyer and ultimately get you more money for your property with less complication and drama. Next, a common issue is failing to negotiate. It's imperative that when we do get offers on your property that you're ready. We want those offers. It's important that I'm able to contact you to review the offer, discuss the benefits and possible flaws or drawbacks that the offer presents, and to make counter offers promptly. Failing to negotiate or failing to negotiate promptly is a major cause for the transaction having difficulty or not moving forward at all. So if you have a situation where timing could be difficult or negotiating could be difficult, maybe you live out of state or are living out of the country or are active military, there's all kinds of cases. So you might have to establish a power of attorney or other mitigating resources to ensure that the transaction gets negotiated the way that you want in a timely fashion. Let's not ruin an offer by not negotiating. Let's get it negotiated, open the escrow, and get them moving. Next, not staging or even taking some time to do the decluttering on your house is a common mistake that folks have. It's true, it's really difficult to make your house into perfect showing condition like right out of a magazine, and I don't think that that's what buyers expect. However, doing basic maintenance, cleanup, depersonalization, some efforts at staging and decluttering are valuable to you and to them. They want to be able to evaluate the property with the best and most positive light possible, and we don't want anything in the property to be visually distracting to them. So I have seen folks make a lot more money by demonstrating the pride of ownership necessary to give that kind of impression to buyers when they come in. Is definitely recommended. Don't skip on your staging or decluttering. Take the time to do them. The next mistake that sellers often make is with limited marketing exposure. They might hire an agent that only puts the property on the MLS, puts a sign in the yard, and then prays that it sells. The so-called 3P marketing plan, right? Put the property on the MLS, put a sign in the front yard, and then pray that it sells. Our marketing plan obviously goes far, far beyond that, but some folks think that that's actually good enough. Well, not in this market where the median priced home is now over $1 million. Buyers are quite expectant, and taking the time to make your property show in the best light possible and to give it the maximum exposure by having quality photography, a 3D Matterport tour, drone photography when it's appropriate. All of these maximize marketing exposure and the impression of the lifestyle, the quality, and how pleasant it will be to buy, own, and live in the property that you're selling. Now, it might seem obvious, but the next mistake is really a problem in our market. And I know if you're selling your home, there's a good chance you've also been considering buying a home, maybe a replacement property. When's the last time that you went online and looked at all the photography that was there? That's your first impression of the property. Now, if you see poorly done photography or that was obviously not lit well, or maybe just even shot with a cell phone, wow. $1 million property where the agent did not hire a professional photographer? When buyers see that the seller is cutting corners or that their listing agent is using something like a real cell phone type photography, it does not lend a positive impression for this $1 million+ purchase for the buyer. Let's do professional photography. I always do. And I'll also offer videography and the 3D Matterport tour. Just ask me all about these and I'll show you some examples of the difference between poorly done and professionally done photography. It makes a huge difference. Next is being inflexible with your showings. Well, buyers are expectant and they think that buying a home should be easy and convenient. And sorry to say, they are not as respectful or as accommodating to you as the seller as probably they should be. They think or might think that home buying is kind of like a trip to the shopping mall, right? Maybe they think they can go anytime, or they can arrive late, or be very demanding. Now, a good buyer's agent will prep their buyer and make sure that they are respectful of your time and your efforts to, let's say, vacate a property so that they can have a showing. But at the same time, wise to understand that not all buyers will conform to what their buyer's agents or me as the listing agent provide as requirements for the showing. So be as understanding and as accommodating as possible. Let's set up open houses with ample notice. Let's have showing time windows preset so that when the buyers want to schedule a showing, we know that the time is likely to work with your schedule. So these are some of the things that we can do in advance to make your property easier to show. Homes that are easier to show sell faster and for more money. So let's figure out what we need to do to make it easy for buyers agents to show your home. I'll work together with you to make that happen And by cooperating with the showing schedule, you're going to get the maximum number of showings and the best offers. Next, another mistake, unfortunately, that some sellers have made along the way is ignoring feedback. Now, feedback is notoriously overrated. The most important feedback that we can get from a prospective buyer is an offer for your house. And how much they liked your house and how motivated they are is reflected in the price and in the terms that they've offered you. That's feedback. Now, on the other hand, there will be a variety of folks that look at your house and decide not to buy your home, and that's normal. And I will get feedback from them about what they thought of the property, if they are thinking of making an offer, and if they've decided not to make an offer, what's their feedback? Which house did they pick? What did they think about your property? Did they have any suggestions or comments? Now, I will say that any suggestion or comment that they make should be taken with a grain of salt. Not every buyer will have the same thoughts and ideas as the next. On the other hand, if feedback is coming back with the same kinds of feedback more than once, then chances are this feedback is a lot more bona fide and should be something that we can consider addressing. Now, we can't change all kinds of aspects about your house. On the other hand, there might be very simple and easy adjustments or edits that we can make to how your property is being presented to the market and improve the buyer's experience at the showing, ultimately culminating in them making a strong offer. So, I want to reassure you that I do get feedback. The most important feedback that I get is often at the open houses or at the broker's open. I like to try to get the feedback directly by running open houses and by talking with other real estate professionals that are seeing a lot of properties, probably more properties than any of the buyers, and who are in a position to give us constructive feedback, things that we can change or edit or make minor improvements that by investing a small amount of time, money, and energy will have a strong return on investment for you as the seller. And last, the most common challenge or mistake that sellers make is poor communication and interpersonal relations with the real estate agent or broker that they've hired. It's a spirit of teamwork. We got to work well together. We've got to communicate well. That means having periodic phone calls, not relying on text messaging to convey important ideas or requests. I do this by having a weekly call with you as the seller. You should know exactly how we have progressed in the marketing and the sale of your property. What marketing activities were accomplished in the last week? How many showings did we have? How many offers by then, of course, you know. What was the feedback? Do we need to make any updates, edits, or changes to the house or the listing? These are the kinds of communication issues that do come up, and as homes take inevitably longer to sell, those communications become critical to your success. Inexperienced and junior agents that rely on text messaging or don't have good communication skills, written and verbal, will inevitably cost you time, money, and heartache. I've been in the business more than 20 years and I have over 800 closings. The most important part of that is trust and cooperation. Those are all facilitated by good communication. Thanks so much for watching this video series about how to maximize the sale of your house. Selling smarter, San Diego? Thanks so much. I'm Jeremy Katz with eXp San Diego House Hunting. Good luck and happy house hunting.